Good morning, Hayom Yom, Chof Tammuz. So every single Jew, every single one of us has something known as the Etzem HaNeshama, which is the core of our being. And the core of our being, our Etzem HaNeshama, is always connected with Hashem, it's always in tune, it's always connected and in tune. And it never doubts, it never loses clarity, it is always on fire, it always knows what it wants, it's always centered, it's always spot on. The problem is that our conscious minds and our conscious beings are disconnected from our Etzem HaNeshama. They're out of sync, they're out of touch usually. And our conscious minds are a lot more confused, a lot less focused. Now, occasionally, our Etzem HaNeshama will line up with our conscious selves, and we'll begin to live and feel in our conscious lives the values and perspective of our Etzem HaNeshama. And in those moments, we'll feel super inspired, we'll feel super centered, we'll have clarity, we'll be on the ball, everything's gonna be great, life's gonna be great, we're gonna be on a high. The problem is that the moment our Etzem HaNeshama becomes, again, unaligned from our conscious beings and our day-to-day selves, all that inspiration, all that perspective, all that clarity dissipates in a second, and we are back to being ourselves. And suddenly we lose all that focus, we lose all that clarity, we lose all that centeredness. Now, some people just wait around for these days. They wait around for these highs. They try to ride all these waves. They wait around every week or every month or every couple of months or every year, depending on your nature. And suddenly, every couple of weeks, every couple of months, they out of the blue, they feel themselves and they feel connected and they feel centered and they ride that wave and then it plops and they pray to Hashem, asking for that to come back. And they just wait around for weeks and months for these things to happen and they ride these waves. But that is really, 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 really not the Chabad approach. It's a very Prerequisite approach and other movements approaches, but it's not the Chabad approach. The Chabad approach is that we have to work on ourselves and we have to change ourselves and we have to develop and cultivate our minds and our hearts. We have to work on cultivating our conscious minds, our conscious hearts, our conscious day-to-day self to make that person a person that's dedicated and devoted and committed to Torah mitzvahs, to make that person a committed and inspired Jew. And that might take a lot longer, it might not be as exciting, it doesn't happen overnight. You slowly work on yourself and align yourself with your deep inner values, but when that happens, that's a lot more real, it's a lot more lasting, that lasts and remains forever because you're really, really working with yourself, you're really changing who you are. You're not just waiting for some magical inspiration to hit you, you are putting in the work and lifting yourself up and changing who you are. Now, the way we do this, the tool we use to work on ourselves and align ourselves and connect ourselves and to become dedicated, aligned human beings and Jews is through the Torah, and more specifically through the study of Chassidus. Now he's going to say it's not enough to just sit down and learn Chassidus. Now a lot of people don't learn Chassidus, and if you don't learn Chassidus, it's great to start learning Chassidus, but anyone who's learning Chassidus is just half the equation, and maybe even less than half the equation. It's like certain procedures, you do 50% of it, but then if you stop right there, you basically have zero benefits from it. So Chassidus is just half the equation, half the procedure, and people that just go and learn Chassidus and they're already putting in that time, they're putting in that effort, they're putting in that energy, and then they just stop after that. It's not worth zero, but it's kind of, they're not at least maximizing the benefits of the Chassidus. The way we do it is by using the tool of Chassidus, but then applying a technique to the Chassidus we learn known as Hisboninus, or applying a certain learning style to the Chassidus we learn. And the word Hisboninus is an extremely, extremely fundamental word in life and in Chassidus, and it's used all the time. And for some reason, a lot of people think that Hisboninus is some like weird, ancient technique that has nothing to do with reality, and maybe like 700 years ago people knew how to do it, but nowadays there's no connection to us, and it's a dead word. And there's barely a mimer or a page in Chassidus that goes by without mentioning the word Hisboninus, and it's a very key word, it's a very fundamental word, and it's a very basic human technique in how to apply ideas, and how to think about ideas, and how to learn ideas. And really just what it means, very simply, is to really focus very strongly on an idea, to really be present in an idea, to really meditate on an idea, to think deeply about an idea. And really, the word Hisboninus has nothing to do with Judaism or with Chassidus. Any real thinking person, any person that really learns to have presence of mind and to really, really focus on anything they're learning or anything they're thinking about can practice Hisboninus about whatever they're thinking about. It could be Chassidus, it could be philosophy, it could be anything in the world. And obviously, if somebody has no attention span and can't concentrate for 1 minute or 5 minutes or 10 minutes or an hour, not in conversation, they're always distracted, not in learning, they're always distracted, then obviously you can't do Hisboninus. But the problem is not that Hisboninus is an ancient, outdated concept. The problem is you have no attention span. You don't have a trained mind. You have an undisciplined, childish mind. But a person who works on themselves and works on cultivating and developing a real attention span, a real focus, and can sit on an idea and just be present fully in the idea and get lost in the idea for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, for an hour, you can do Hisboninus. If you learn to basically become very present in general and very focused and like a good listener in situations, to people in conversation, to the books you're reading, to anything you're really engaging with or interacting with, you can do Hisboninus. It's not some weird magical concept. And he says, Hisboninus is a 3-step ladder. There's 3 steps to ultimately engaging in Hisboninus when you learn Chassidus. So he says the first step, which is even pre-Hisboninus, is just like a prerequisite. This is basics. If you don't have this, you can't even begin in Hisboninus, is whatever you're learning, whatever you're thinking about, to comprehend it on the most basic level. To really just get it and get all the technicalities and get all the details and all the idea and get the whole idea and just to comprehend the idea, to really to get it and to understand it. And if you learn stuff and you walk away all fuzzy, you have no idea essentially what it said, and you can't sum it up, and you have no picture of the overall idea, and you have no picture of the specifics of the idea, then your problem is not that you're lacking Hisboninus, and it would be foolish to try to engage in Hisboninus. You're lacking basic comprehension skills. You have to go back to 2nd grade or 8th grade, whatever it is, and learn how to process ideas, learn how to comprehend things. Your comprehension skills suck, and you have to learn how to understand ideas very basically and very simply. And the basic before you even engage in Hisboninus is becoming a normal thinking human being that can analyze ideas and break down ideas and get things and understand things and really have good comprehension skills. And that's a prerequisite, that's a basic pre-Hisboninus. You have to comprehend whatever you're learning and get all the details of the idea and get the whole picture of the idea. Now he says though, most of us are very lazy thinkers. So the moment we spent a long time, we spent an hour, 2 hours learning something and really trying to get it and get all the details and really get what it's saying, so most of us stop there. And when we're done with that, we either walk away, we feel exhausted, or we want to learn the next thing. And he says, what are you doing? That's like setting the groundwork to really now you can really start connecting with the idea. Now you can really start Hisboninus. So don't stop there. Don't be a lazy thinker. Go to the next step. And he says the next step is once you just get something on the very technical level, on the very basic level, and it all comes together, it all makes sense, he says now think about it again. Think about it deeper. Keep focusing on the idea. Don't run away from the idea. Focus on the idea. Either you can read it again inside or just outside. Think about it. And he says, and now just like go through the whole structure of the idea from the starting point, go through the whole thing again and think about it very intently and very deeply and try to get new nuance in it. And he said, if you do that, suddenly, even though before you technically got it and you got what the general message was and all the ideas and you got what it was saying, now you're gonna really, really get it. It's gonna like hit home. It won't just be like a dead idea, it will come to life, it'll be fleshed out, it'll become like a visual image in your head. You'll really, really understand, like it will click, like what it's saying. And the whole image, the whole idea is like gonna come to life and become, again, like a visual image. It's really gonna click and just make sense and start sinking in. And every time, the more you spend thinking on it, it's just gonna sink in and sink in and sink in. And you're like, the idea will almost come to life, and that you realize like you'll realize what the idea really means. You like really, really get the idea. And it's when we understand things in this way, when we connect with things in this way, that the idea becomes exciting. If you can learn something and it's like very technical, and even if you get it, you comprehend it, you can repeat it, it can often be not exciting because we haven't really connected with the idea. When you connect with that idea on this first level, that's when the idea has a certain life to it. It becomes exciting in our minds. Our mind is set on fire by it because we really connect with it intellectually. We really get it intellectually. We really get it. And again, the more you think about it in this way, it will just like it will just sink in and sink in and sink in, and you'll start seeing it. It'll become like you'll really get it. Now, again, most of us are very lazy thinkers, so we don't spend the time applying ideas in this way or taking the time to learn ideas in this way. We stop usually pre this. But anyone who does, so it's such a great feeling experience. It's so amazing then most people think that that's amazing, and like they wish that everything they learned could be this way. They wish that everything they learned they could understand in this way. They wish that everything they learned they had the discipline and the time to learn in this way. And a lot of people don't realize that this is just the first of 3 steps. And a lot of people will stop there and again move on to something else. But that is again because we're either lazy thinkers or because we don't even realize we've never experienced more, and then a lot of people don't realize there is more to an idea. And he says step number 2 of the 3 steps is after you've accomplished that, after you've really thought about an idea to the point that it like really all came together and clicked and it became like a picture in your head, a reality, you start seeing it. He says the next step is to not stop there, but again think about it, learn it again. Think about it more, think about it deeper, focus on it even more. Pay attention to the idea even more. And he said now, if you do that, you can connect with the idea in an even deeper, more profound way. That till now, while the idea all came together and it all clicked and you really connected with it in an intellectual way, and intellectually you mapped out what it's really saying and you had this visual picture, he says if you continue to focus on the idea, if you continue to learn the idea, you will suddenly feel the life behind the idea. And not the intellectual excitement, but the like emotional life, like real, like the humanistic element of the idea, the emotional element of the idea. How this idea really transforms the way you feel about things, really transforms your life experience. And you'll begin to live with it. Not just the idea will excite your brain intellectually and set your brain intellectually on fire, but you'll really begin to live with the idea and see the idea in everything you do and experience the idea in everything you do. And it will come down to like the experiential level, will come down to the humanistic level. And that's like, that feels amazing because you're like, your whole being is taken over by the idea, and therefore you really connect with the idea on all levels. Now, okay, that's step number 2. Now, these first 2 steps, again, we use the word Hisboninus, but it has nothing to do with Judaism, it has nothing to do with Chassidus, it has nothing to do with Torah. Any just thinking person who's trained to concentrate and trained to think and trained to focus on things could feel this about anything, about a philosophical idea, about any idea in the world, any deep idea you can feel this for. And this is why really intellectual people, they actually like enjoy ideas. Like most people run around, everyone's trying to feel good, right? So most people run around feeling good by engaging in physical, sensual experiences. But for a very smart person, those things, they feel cute, but they're very lacking. What really sets them on fire, what really stimulates them and excites them is connecting with ideas in deep ways. But says the Friediker Rebbe, there's something unique to Torah and there's something unique to Chassidus. And only in Torah and Chassidus are you able to go a step further with your connection with ideas. You're able to apply ideas one step further, the 3rd step. And the 3rd step is when you continue to think about the idea. When you continue, you don't stop there, you don't become a lazy thinker, you continue to apply the idea, you continue to think about the idea. And he says when that happens, suddenly you'll connect with a deeper element in the idea that only exists in Hasidic ideas and in Torah ideas. And that is you'll connect and start living and start feeling, and you'll get the elikus within the idea, the godliness within the idea, the godly spirit within the idea. And then if you manage to connect with Chassidus in that way, you walk around and it won't just be a nice, interesting, deep idea which set your heart and mind on fire, but your heart and mind will be set on fire with a godly fire, with a godly energy, a godly spirit, with the kind of thing that your etzem and neshama is in tune with. And then when you walk around the streets, as long as that idea is setting you on fire, you're going to see in everything and you're going to feel in everything goodness and alikus and Hashem. You're going to see Hashem and everything, Chassidus and everything, and specifically you're going to viewing everything through the viewpoint of this specific idea, the kind of perspective it tells you about the world. And different ideas will give you a certain different godly perspective of things. But as long as this idea is burning within your heart and burning within your mind, and you've connected with it in this deep 3rd way, you will see alikus and everything. Your conscious mind on its own will have lined itself up with and will have reached the perspective of the etzem and neshama, not vice versa, that the etzem and neshama popped in for a visit one day. You will have achieved real, cultivated Hisboninus. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.